Okay, I want to go back and make a correction that students have pointed out to me. We're going to flip back to page was the number of significant figures in this on page 6. I want to correct this. This number doesn't have 3 significant figures, it has 4 significant figures. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I said that, but there are 4 significant figures in that number. And that is because 138,200, there are 2 zeros before an implied decimal point, so those aren't significant, but the rest of these numbers are. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 significant figures. And I want to go back to page 5 and make sure how many significant figures in each. This one should be 4. So if that was bothering you, hopefully that's clearer. I apologize for the mistake. And don't hesitate to correct me. I am human. I do make mistakes. So let's go to conversions now. So we're going to go to page 10. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to learn how to use conversion factors to change from one unit to another. So if you think of these dominoes, this domino right here, I want to change this domino to this domino. So this domino on the left is my starting quantity, and this number on the right is the finished number for that is what I want to convert my starting quantity to. So this is the desired unit. Now, these dominoes on the bottom, you can think of these as conversion factors. So what we need to do is to orient these conversion factor dominoes at the bottom so that we can cancel out these other dots. So before I go into the domino example, I'm going to just think about this mathematical principle. If I have a number 3 over 1, in order to get 3 to cancel out, I can divide by 3. Something like that. So I got my 3's to cancel out, I got my 1's to cancel out. So when you divide a number by the same number, you cancel it out. The same applies for units. So for instance, if I have grams as my starting quantity and I want to convert to milliliters, I need to put milliliters on the top and grams on the bottom. So it goes like that. So now my units are in milliliters. So with these dominoes, what we're doing is trying to get the dots to cancel out. So this first conversion factor that I need to kind of multiply by would be one that has a dot at the bottom. So I've taken this conversion factor and flipped it. So if you can imagine flipping it. So I picked it up and flipped it. So now I have my 2 dots here. So I am no longer in this 1 dot, but I'm not quite to 4 dots yet. So I've used this conversion factor, I'm done with that. In order to get the 2 dots to cancel out, I need to and the orientation of these dots is not important. So if that's throwing you off, don't worry about it. So now these cancel off and I cancel out and I'm in 3 dots. But I'm not quite to 4 dots yet. So then I need to multiply by this conversion factor. It has 3 dots here and 4 dots here. And those cancel out. So I have effectively converted my domino from 1 dot to 4 dots using these conversion factors. Now, as I mentioned earlier, units can be thought of like numbers. So we're going to try and convert kilometers to feet, and we'll actually learn how to do this conversion coming up. So I have these conversion factors here. This is my starting quantity, and this is my desired unit. So I need to use these conversion factors in a way that allows me to convert kilometers to feet. Now if I just take this domino and use it as is, you see how kilometers doesn't cancel out? If you multiply this out right now, you would get kilometers squared over miles. That doesn't look anything like the desired unit of feet. So I can't do it that way. I've got to get the kilometers to cancel out. So instead of having the domino oriented like this, I'm going to flip it. So I'll put kilometers here and miles up here. So that cancels. So now we're in miles. We're not quite to feet yet, but if you look down, we still have conversion factors that involve miles. In order to get miles to cancel out, I need to put this conversion factor on the bottom and the yards on the top. So miles is canceled out. Now we're in yards. So we're not quite to feet yet. It turns out there is a conversion factor that goes from yards to feet. In order to get the yards to cancel out, you need to put the yards on the bottom and the feet on the bottom. So this is how we're going to be working conversion problems. And I've tried to simplify it with just the units and at first. But eventually we're going to get to the point where we have numbers and units. For instance, I might want to, this would be a typical conversion problem. I'll take 16.8 kilometers and convert that to feet. So I want to know how many feet this is. Well, I need these conversion factors, and I just had given you domino representations of these conversion factors. It turns out that they're actual numbers, so I'm going to write these conversion factors up here. So 1.61 kilometers in 1 mile. Also, 1 mile is 760 yards, and 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I'm going to show you what we're going to strive to do with these conversions. So this is the conversion that I want to carry out. So I'm going to write out my starting quantity. And when I write out my starting quantity, not only do I write the number, but I also write the units. And I pay close attention to how many digits are in the number as well, because we're going to have to pay attention to sig figs. So 16.8 kilometers. I'm going to put this over 1, and I'm just giving you a preview. We will go over how to set these up in this lecture. So 16.8 kilometers. I want kilometers to cancel out, so I'm going to use this conversion factor first. So 1.61 kilometers, that's all going to go on the bottom, because this number 1.61 and kilometers are married, they stay together, and then 1 and mile go on top. So now I'm in miles. Now I need to get miles to cancel out because I'm still not quite to feet yet. So I need to use this next conversion factor here. So 1 mile is 1,760 yards. Oops. So miles cancels out, and I'm in yards. Now I have one more conversion to make, and it involves yards to feet. So I need to get yards on the bottom. So 1 yard is 3 feet. So this is all my work for converting 16.8 kilometers to feet. So we've done the hardest part right here. This can be very challenging for students, and it takes a while to get to this many conversions. We're going to start off with just 1-step and 2-step conversions. But I just wanted to give you a preview of what it's like. Now, we need to enter this into our calculator. So, you have your calculator handy. What you're going to enter on your calculator, this is, I'll put it in green, calculator. You will put 16.8 divided by 1.61 multiplied by 1760 multiplied by 3. So you punch that into your calculator, 16.8 divided by 1.61 times 1760 times 3. And I recommend doing it a few times in your calculator because it's easy to hit a multiply when you meet divide. And if you want to enter the times 1 divided by 1, you can do that, but it's not going to change your answer. So when you enter this into your calculator, 16.8 divided by 1.61 times 1760 times 3, you get a pretty large number. The answer you get is, I'm going to put it in green because we haven't adjusted for sig figs yet, 55095.65. Now if I just put that number, it doesn't really mean anything. Remember that I need to put units. Okay, now I need to adjust for sig figs. So I have 3 sig figs starting off. I don't pay attention to these conversion factors, sig figs, because they are exact numbers. So I just pay attention to my starting quantity. So 3 sig figs, my answer needs to have 3 sig figs, so I'm going to put a bracket here. And so my answer, adjusted to the correct number of significant figures, would be 551, and then I'm going to fill in those with zeros. So 55100 feet. You can also see this written in scientific notation. This would be written as 5.51 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4 times 10 to the 4th. Okay. So this is kind of a preview of what our conversions will be like. This is a pretty, difficult conversion. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how she did that. I don't know how I'm going to pass this class. My whole future's in jeopardy. Don't worry. We're going to step back and start from the beginning with this. But if you just keep it simple and think about units canceling out, you can get very far with this. So let's go to page 11. So unit conversion is a technique that is used to change any unit from one to another. There are 3 basic concepts that are used in unit conversion. We can multiply, the first one is we can multiply or divide any quantity by 1. And the result will still be equal to the original quantity. So you can take 3 grams and multiply it by 1, it will still be 3 grams. Sorry, I think I said divide it by 1, it will still be 3 grams. You can multiply it by 1 and it will still be 3 grams. Another thing to keep in mind is the numeral 1 can be written in many different ways when written in fraction form. So, 12 over 12 is the same as 1. 3 over 3 is the same as 1. Grams over grams is the same as 1. Milliliters over milliliters is the same as 1. And as long as the numerator of the fraction equals the denominator of the fraction is equal to 1. Any definition involving units can be made into a unit definition or conversion factor equal to 1. So, kind of like I did up here, milliliters over milliliters is 1. This is how we get units to cancel. Now, if you think about fraction multiplication, recall that you first cancel before multiplying. So if I have 17.9 grams and I have a density of, say, 1.5 grams over milliliters, before you multiply and divide this out, you can cancel these units, so it's clear that your answer will be in milliliters. Now, in order to enter this into your calculator, you would put 17.9 divided by 1.5, and if you wanted to, you could put times 1, but the times 1 isn't going to change your answer like we just learned. So you enter this into your calculator, 17.9 divided by 1.5 gives you 11.933333. And we can only have 3 sig figs, so it comes out to be 11.9. So basically, any top can be canceled with any bottom when multiplying. Units act like numbers but are separate from the number. Units can also cancel tops and bottoms. Okay, so I'm going to go through a simple example. How many feet is 3 inches? Use the given conversion factor as your domino. So our starting quantity is 3 inches. So I'm going to be kind of particular about how you set up your work initially because it's much easier for me to figure out where you made a mistake in your work if you have it set up very neat. So your starting quantity is 3 inches. I recommend writing 3 inches on the left of your paper and then writing it over the number 1. Now I need to convert this to feet. So I want to get to how many feet is this? Well, I need inches to cancel out. So 12 inches needs to go on the bottom, and then 1 foot would go there. So I've canceled out my inches, and now I'm in feet. So in my calculator, I'm going to punch 3 divided by 12 times 1. You can omit the times 1 part if you'd like. But anything that's on the same level as your starting quantity will be multiplied. Anything that's on the bottom will be divided. So 3 divided by 12 gives you 0.25 feet. But think about sig figs. I need to have 1 sig fig because our starting quantity has 1 sig fig. So the correct answer, adjusted for significant figures, is 0.3 feet. Okay, so I have some useful conversion factors in the square for you. There are conversion factors in your textbook. in the conversion section as well as the back of the book, kind of on the hardcover. On quizzes and exams, conversion factors will be given to you. We do not expect you to memorize conversion factors, but we do expect you to know how to convert from your prefixes, your metric prefixes. So mega, kilo, centi, deci, all of those, you are expected to know those conversion factors. We will not give you those. But we'll give you how many yards are in a mile and that sort of thing. So let's work through another example. I measure the width of a table to be 2 feet. How many centimeters is that? So again, write out your starting quantity. Be very neat about this. Write it on the left of your paper. 2 feet over 1. So I need to convert this to centimeters. So I want to know how many centimeters this is. So if I look up here, using these conversion factors, I'm going to kind of highlight the ones that involve feet and centimeters and see if they can be. So this first one, 2.54 centimeters, I see centimeters. 1 kilogram, no, that doesn't involve centimeters or feet. 12 inches, 1 foot. Oh, there you go. I see another, I see 5,280 feet equals 1 mile, but I don't think we want anything with miles. So it seems like these first two conversion factors I can use. So the one I'm going to use first would be the one that cancels out feet. So I'll use this one first and then this one second. So I'm going to put feet on the bottom, 1 foot, and then 12 and inches go together. So I've canceled out my feet, and now I'm in inches. I'm not quite to centimeters yet. So I'm going to use this second conversion factor. So I want inches to cancel out, so 1 inch, 2.54 centimeters. So inches cancels out. So now I'm in centimeters. Now to enter this into my calculator, I'm going to put 2.0 times 12 times 2.54. So 2 times 12 times 2.54, I end up with 60.96 centimeters. But I have 2 sig figs to start off with, so I can only have 2 in my answer. So when I adjust for sig figs, my answer will be 61 centimeters. So I have it kind of written out stepwise. We've gone through this a few times, so you're probably starting to see the pattern. But the first step you always do is write out the starting quantity with unit labels. The step 2 is to look up the appropriate conversion factors. Again, on quizzes and exams, we will provide you these, not the prefix conversion, but conversion factors, like we've just used. I don't expect you to memorize those. Step 3, multiply by conversion factors so units cancel. And then double check that units cancel. And then step 5 is to check significant figures. And remember that conversion factors do not count for significant figures because they are exact numbers. So for example 2, this is the answer I got, 61 centimeters. Always make sure I have 2 sig figs in my answer. I started off with 2 sig figs, so double check. Also, make sure that you write your units. If you just wrote 61, you would get points deducted on a quiz or an exam because units are so very important. You've worked so hard to convert feet to centimeters, and if you forget to write centimeters, all that work is lost. So you need to make sure that you write out your units as well. So if you have a tendency to be kind of sloppy with your work and write things in different places so it doesn't make sense, Really try to clean it up. It will help you. It will help me give you more partial credit if I can follow your work. For instance, for example 2, let's say you had, this is, I'll write in red. No, let's see, I'll write your work in purple. Let's say you had 2 feet over 1, 12 inches over 1 foot, and then you had 1 inch over 2.54. And this is what you came up with for your answer. So what happened in your work, you wrote out your starting quantity correctly, you used the correct conversion factors, you just flipped one of them. And let's say you eventually adjusted everything to 9.4 centimeters. So you have the correct number of significant figures. Sig figs, correct. If this was a 5-point question, you might get 3 to 3.5 points out of 5. So, but if I couldn't tell what conversion factors you were using, if it wasn't clearly labeled, I wouldn't know where you made a mistake. So be sure to show your work clearly. Okay, so on the next page, I have some practice problems. So I want you to hit pause and try working 1 and 2. Okay, so on number 1, you would write out your starting quantity. And you want to convert that to grams. So how many grams is that? So I need pounds to cancel out, so I can use 2.20 pounds. 1 kilogram. Now, at this point, you could just enter this into your calculator, 0.2 divided by 2.2, and you get 0.0909 kilograms. But I still need to convert that to grams. And I need to adjust for sig figs. I need 2 sig figs, so it's really 0.091 kilograms. So I can use the prefix ladder. So I have mega, kilo, base unit, deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. So this is 6, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9. Okay, so I need to get from kilo to grams, so I need to move this decimal 3 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, so it's 91 grams. Okay, double check that sig figs are correct. I have 2 sig figs here, 2 sig figs here, grams, and it asks for grams. Another way you could write out this conversion. If you didn't want to do 2 parts where you do 1 conversion and then the ladder, you can also do 0.20 pounds over 1 kilogram over 2.20 pounds, and then in 1 kilogram there are 1,000 grams. So that would give you the same answer. It just depends on your style. If you like using the ladder, you're comfortable with it, go for it. If you like using these conversion factors, by all means, go for it. Okay, and number 2. This one might have thrown you a little bit because feet per second, I don't know this. So try to find out how many feet per second you are traveling when you are going 55 miles per hour. So per means divide. So 55 miles per hour is your starting quantity. So you might think, oh, I can just write it out like that. But if you write it like that, it doesn't clearly show where your units are. So what I like to do, treat these units as numbers. So miles is in the numerator or on the top. Hour is in the denominator. So this is your starting quantity. So try to find out how many feet per second you're traveling when you go 55 miles per hour. So we want to get to feet per second. So our ultimate goal is to get feet in the numerator, which is the top, and then second in the denominator. So I need to convert both miles and hour. So I see a conversion factor here that converts miles to feet. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So now I'm in feet. I have achieved that. If I stopped right here, my units would be feet per hour. So I need to convert hour to seconds. So look at these conversion factors up here. I don't have any, but in 1 hour there are how many minutes? 1 hour is 60 minutes. And then 1 minute is 60 seconds. So I can use those conversion factors to convert my hours to seconds. But how do I get the hours to cancel off if the hour is already in the bottom? Well, I need to have the hour in the top here. So 1 hour equals 60 minutes. That cancels. And then, so if I stopped right here, I would be feet per minute. So I need to do 1 minute over 60 seconds. So minutes cancel. Now I'm in feet per second. So when I enter this into my calculator, I do 55 times 5,280 divided by 60 divided by 60. So 55 times 5280 divided by 60 divided by 60. And I end up with 80.6666 repeating. Okay, and I need to have 2 sig figs. So 2 sig figs, and that will give you 81 feet per second. I have my units labeled, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. So anytime you see a question that involves per, write it out like I have here. Otherwise, it's going to be very tricky. So, and number 2 was a challenging one. But the more you practice these, the easier they will become. Okay, and I'm going to kind of explain how I came up with the conversion here using the prefix letter. If you preferred that way, or you could, do kind of both ways. But let's write out the conversion or the prefix ladder again. Hopefully you've been practicing this quite a bit and you can just spit it out. So deci, centi, milli, micro, nano. So 6, 3, none for the base unit, 1 for deci, 2 for centi, 3 for milli, 6 for micro, and 9 for nano. Okay, so in order to generate these conversion factors from the prefix ladder, I'm just kind of starting with, meters, grams as my basic units. This could be, they're the same regardless of your base unit. So 1 meter is how many centimeters? So 1 meter, you're going to move the decimal 2 to the right. So I'll do 2 to the right. So it's 100 centimeters. 1 meter would be how many nanometers? So you're going to go 9 to the right. So 1 billion nanometers. Grams to kilograms, so grams, I'm going to go 3 to the left. So 1,000 grams is 1 kilogram. 1 meter to millimeters, go 3 to the right, so it's 1,000 millimeters. So hopefully these are becoming much easier. 1 megameter, you're going to go 6 to the right, that's 1 million meters. And then 1 meter to micrometer, I'm going to go 6 to the right again, that's 1 million micrometers. So, I'm going to show you how we can use these conversion factors. So, along with the prefix letter. How many grams are in 125 milligrams? So, if I was going to do this as a conversion setup, 125 milligrams over 1, I would want to, so I want grams as my answer. And so I need to figure out the conversion factor for grams to milligrams. So 1 gram is equal to how many milligrams? So 3 to the right, 1,000 milligrams. So then I would plug it in here, 1 gram, 1,000 milligrams, so it's 0.125 grams. The other thing you could do is just move the decimal 3 to the left. Just the same as dividing by 1,000. So, however you want to work it. Alright, I want you to hit pause and work number 4. So my starting quantity is 20 inches. Make sure you write down all the zeros here since they are significant. And I need to get to millimeters. So you can look up the conversion factor. Okay, so we have 2.54 centimeters and 1 inch. So I'm going to use that conversion factor. 1 inch, 2.54 centimeters. Now, I can convert directly from centimeters to millimeters. So I'm going to make up my conversion factor right here. 1 centimeter is how many millimeters? So if I start off at centi, to go to milli, there's just a difference of 1, so I'm going to go 1 to the right. So 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. 1 centimeter, 10 millimeters. Enter that into my calculator. 20 times 2.54 times 10. You get 508 millimeters. And that's 3 sig figs. We have our units written. The sig figs are correct. Okay, so now I want you to work problems 6, 7, and 8. So hit pause and work these. While you're working these, think about the per, writing it over 1. With number 6, you have 2 numbers, and the number that has 1 unit, that's probably going to be easiest to start out as your starting quantity. So 200 grams over 1, I'm going to use this as my conversion factor. So 2.70 grams would be on the bottom, 1 cubic centimeter on the top. And we've answered the question by using that conversion factor. So it's just a one-step conversion. So 200 divided by 2.7, 74.07 cubic centimeters. Going to have 4 sig figs because our starting quantity has 4 sig figs. So we're good there. We have our units written out. Looks good. Okay, number 7. How many cubic micrometers are there in 0.25 square micrometers are there in 0.25 square centimeters? Okay, so we write out our starting quantity. Now, that prefix letter didn't have squares in it. So, how are we going to do this? Well, remember that centimeters squared is the same thing as centimeters times centimeters. So if you write this out like this. Okay. Now I need to figure out my conversion factor for centimeters to micrometers. So 1 centimeter is how many micrometers? I'm just going to do an abbreviated ladder. So we have centi, which is 2, milli, which is 3, micro, which is 6. So we're going from centi to micro, which is, so it's going to be 4 to the right. So it's going to be 10,000. Yeah, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And fill in those zeros. Okay, so 1 centimeter is 10,000 micrometers. I've only taken care of one of those centimeters, so I need to do the same operation again. I use the same conversion factor. Centimeters cancel, centimeters. Now we're in micrometer times micrometer, which gives you micrometer squared. So 0.25 times 10,000 times 10,000 gives you 25 million, or 2.5 times 10 to the 7th. This has 2 sig figs, this has 2 sig figs. Don't forget your units. I almost forgot my units. Micrometers squared. There you go. All right, and the last one, try to find out how many kilometers per hour you're traveling when you go 85 miles per hour. So 85 miles per hour is your starting quantity. Okay, so I've highlighted these conversion factors that we're going to find useful. Okay, so we have in 1 mile, let's go back up. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So I can use that one. I'll use it this way, 1 mile, 5,280 feet. So that cancels that out. And then 1 foot is 12 inches. And then the other conversion factor that we're going to use on that page, 1 meter is 39.4 inches. And then we're still not quite there because we need kilometers. So we need to go from meters to kilometers. So 1 meter is how many kilometers? Okay, so 1 meter, we're going to move the decimal. 1, 2, 3. So 1 meter is 0.001 kilometers, or you could say 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Okay, so we've canceled all those out. We're in kilometers per hour now. Now we just need to enter this into our calculator. So 85 times 5280 times 12 divided by 39.4 divided by 1,000. Times 5280 times 12 divided by 39.4 divided by 1,000. So 136.69. I need to make this 2 sig figs. So 140 kilometers per hour. So these last few were kind of challenging, but keep practicing. Practice your homework. Write down your questions. Ask me questions when we're in class. Work on your pink book problems. There are tons of practice. There are also nice practice problems on Blackboard. But the more you practice conversion, the easier it will get. So keep practicing. Practice, 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 and ask questions on Tuesday. So work on your homework, work on the pink book, work on Blackboard, practice, practice, practice. All right, I'll see you